What's going on YouTube? Matthew back here with you today, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you my 1955 Bowman complete Cleveland Indians team set. Now this is not the complete Bowman set, just the Indians team set. Now, I'm an Indians collector, as anybody that watches my channel regularly knows. One of the reasons that I'm sharing this set, it's known as a beautiful set. Um, Very popular with a lot of vintage collectors. This card design is exactly what color TVs looked like back in 1955. My grandparents, I remember, had a floor model cabinet color TV that still worked. That was probably from around this time range when they had bought it brand new, and it still worked when I was a kid in the late 70s. And anyway, they built things to last back in those days. So TV sets lasted, very long amount of time. Today they make everything to tear up very, very quick so that you have to continue to buy brand new, appliances, everything over and over and over. Computers, everything's that way nowadays. Cheap built, tear up quick. Anyway, this set is special to me as a Cleveland Indian fan because this is based on the 1954 season. And the 1954 Indians, which are shown in these cards, finished first place in the American League. Back in those days, there wasn't a playoff set up like there is today. They won the American League pennant. They won 111 games. And this is in a time range when the regular season was still only 154 games, which means that it's hard enough to win 111 games today in 162 games played, but to do it, with eight less games, that's a pretty good feat. And this team was loaded with Hall of Famers, and for some reason, one player that was not included in this team set or in the 1955 Bowman set is Larry Doby, a Hall of Famer who had probably one of the best seasons of his career in 1954. I don't know why. I've actually looked up to try to find out why Bowman did not include him with all of his other teammates. It's one of those weird, omissions by a company. At any rate, this is the team set, and this first card here is, and I might butcher a few of these names because these guys are before my time. This is Rudy Regalado, I believe. Rudy Regalado, and if I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. But this is his 1955 Bowman card. Very nice color. Now, this is a low grade set, but it's very hard to find these 55 Bowmans in pristine condition, but mainly because it's kind of like 87 tops. People familiar with that grew up in my generation, that border, that wood grain border is very easily to show edge wear, corner wear, but also the card backs. This is what the card back look like. And these cards in my team set here range from, I would say they range from, at the worst, what I would classify as very good to EX, nothing above that. Anyway, this is one of the better commons, and as far as better shape. And I tried when I was putting this team set together I looked for cards that were crease free. I wanted cards that were really good color. The big thing I have about vintage cards, no paper loss. I didn't want cards that were missing something off the back or something where they've been glued in a binder if I could help it. Right here is Bob Hooper. And you can notice the color images on these cards here. I went after cards that really had a nice image. And I know there's a little bit of glare in these card savers. I've got them in card savers, and the card savers then slid down into a team baggie, and team baggie, and I'll do that to just preserve cards in these so that way the card can't possibly slide out. These cards are actually bigger than the standard baseball cards that we know today. A little bit bigger, more like 1990 Bowman, 1989 Bowman. When they first made another Bowman set again in the 80s. But Bob Hooper was the second card there. Right here is Art Houteman, and I'm probably butchering his last name. This is one of the cards that I felt like no matter what, I was trying to find one at first that I felt like was more focused. And every example I've seen of this card, when you look at it up close, I felt like the image was a little bit out of focus. So it's probably just, you know, the the company, a factory problem, when they developed the film for the photos that they took. But I love that blue sky background where these photos were taken at. I'm assuming Cleveland Municipal Stadium back in those days, but they could have been taken anywhere. These could have been taken in, for all I know, because I didn't really research that, but these photos could have been taken in spring training somewhere down in Florida or something back then. There's the back of that card. These cards had no stats on the back, but a lot of detailed information about the players, which made them, kind of cool in a way. This right here is probably one of the high-end commons that I have here, EX condition. Um, and by EX, the way I grade cards myself, as many years as I've been in the hobby, no, the guy that I actually bought this card from when I got this card, he actually considered this to be near mint. But to me, you see obvious. The corners are still in pretty good shape for a 1955 card, but you see obvious edge wear, obvious corner wear on these corners, and the centering is real good on both the front and back. It's got tremendous color. It's still got original gloss, almost as if the photo had just been pulled from a pack in a way. But because of the edge and corner wear, I have to say this is EX to EX plus at best, not near mint to mint. But that's me. This one right here, I would actually consider this card to be very good, even though a lot of collectors would say, nah, it's EX. The reason I say very good, too much edge wear, too much corner wear. You see that corner right there? When you start getting into that, even though the corner's not rounded, there's enough edge wear that, to me, and this is Hal Narragon. This is his rookie. He was a good player for the Indians for a few years back in the 50s, but Hal Narragon is a rookie. Here's the back of that card. Also, the corners on the back of this card, even though they look the way I've got it in this card saver, they look like they still have some pointiness to them. The truth of it is they're already rounded, dinged bad enough that I call it feathering. When a corner ding the card starts to come apart in layers on the edge. You got and the corner wants to fold over. That's what this card has, and I've got it placed in here to where it's looking as good as it possibly can. But to me, that's just a very good, not great card. Here's another one. All of these I put in the very good right here, very good pile. And I mean, to be as old as they are, that's still nice. This is Dave Pope, who was a solid player for the Indians at one time. Here's the back of that card. Now, I will tell you something that is really nice. All the Hall of Famers are PSA graded that I have. Right here is George Strickland. Strickland, a long-time player for the Indians. He actually he retired and then came out of retirement and to play for them again. I believe he retired after the 1958 season and then came back for the 1960 season, I believe. But anyway, there he is on his 55 Bowman. Um, Now here is a guy that nobody really remembers today, but Mike Garcia was a great pitcher at one time. Now this is near the end of his career. Well, not really the end of his career. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about 1959. This is when Garcia was in his heyday. Garcia was a 20-game winner a couple of times before injuries zapped his abilities. He was on a lot of teams he would have been their ace, but in Cleveland he was like their third or fourth best pitcher, even when he was winning 20 games. So that tells you how good Cleveland was during this time range. There's the back of that card. And as you can see, this card is a little bit off center left to right here, um, which is obvious by the borders on the left and right. It's also got some obvious, as you can see, corner wear right there on that top corner. All the corners are like that. Then the next card here is Hank Majeski. I like this photograph. The color on this card and the bleachers in the background, just a really nice card. This one again, off center, left to right. corner wear, edge wear, typical for a card that was made in 1950 or sold in 1955. There's the back of that. Here is and you're going to notice too, I'll tell you something else about these. If you're not familiar with the Bowman 55s, notice the border is a lighter wood grain than these. This set was issued in 3 series, I believe, or 2 series. There's Series 1. Series 1 has, I can't remember what it only goes up to like so many cards, not for sure, 100 and something, I think. But Series 1, the first so many cards of Series 1 for some reason has a lighter grain border. Now, this border is, this card is off center, left to right as well. It's in pretty good shape overall, though. It's got good color. That photo pops in that TV screen, old, antique looking TV screen. And right there's the back of that card. But anyway, this card here, as you can see, this is one of the lower grades. Even though it looks so good on the front, that color photo, the back here, stained. I kind of hate that. Something was spilled on the back of this card. Also up here, something spilled right there. That looks like actually glue with a little bit. That tells me this was at one time in a what was called back in those days scrapbook album, and somebody pulled it out. Luckily, it does have just the start. Yeah, right there in that word season. And I didn't notice that, I guess, when I got that. I was just looking real quickly at the back. It's got a little bit of paper loss right there in the corner. Not the worst by far. I've seen cards that were pulled out of scrapbooks that were missing the whole back. But anyway, here's another one. This is from early series, and the thing that makes these early series is from Series 1, the earlier cards with the light border, very easy to find. Well, no 1955 Bowmans are that easy to find today, but they're more plentiful. Let's put it that way. Series 1, way more plentiful. Series 2, which had more cards such as, and wait a minute, this one right here is a Series 2, and this is what's called a high number. I think anything over anything numbered to over, I think from about 250 to the end of the set, which is a 300 something card set, is a high number, and high numbers very hard to find. Why? Because it was near the end of the year when it was released, or it was on in the middle of the baseball season when they had released Series 2. And there wasn't as many, sold. A lot more cards got tossed. In other words, it's kind of like the same thing that happened with 52 Tops, the final series. A lot got thrown away by the company. Anyway, this right here is Bobby Avila, and it's a nice card. Here it is. Here's the back of this card. It's in better shape than the Al Smith. And I'm sorry, I didn't even say his name. That was Al Smith, very good player for the Indians at one time. They had a solid team in this year. This is Vic Wertz right here. And again, that light wood grain finish. This is, again, off center, a little bit left to right, but not the worst I've ever seen. Now, here we got a high number. This is one of the very last cards in the entire set. It is very hard to find these like high number. This is card number 312. And anything over 300, it is very hard to find, much less find in really good shape. Now, this card, as you can see, it's got some corner edge dings and stuff like that. It's also got, although it's not really visible on the front, it has got some wrinkles along the edging right here at the top on the back. I don't even know if that's going to show up for the glare, but it's got a little bit of a wrinkle or two there, but the color is still really good in the photo. There's no major creases coming up through the card, and this was, at the time I was putting this team set together, this was the best condition example of this common I could find. I couldn't even find a graded example of it. And that's mainly because cards that are in really good shape like this, people have already bought up years ago. They've got their in collection somewhere where people were putting together a complete set. They're not looking to sell. So these cards, when very nice examples come up for sale, they get bought up really quick, and it is hard. Actually, just commons, even in that condition for this set right here, you go to card like dealers that, not all, a lot of dealers today only fool with modern stuff, but You go to a dealer that's got vintage stuff at a card show or something, and or the National, and you're going to have guys asking as much as between $5 and $10 for a common in that condition. You know why? These are hard to get, and that being a higher, the second series hard, short, very short print, you're probably looking more on the $10 end. So that's why it's so hard to find these in good condition. Now, right here is Don Mossy. This is his rookie card, and a lot of people don't know who he is today, but he was a very good pitcher at one time. Uh, I always thought when I was a kid he had funny looking ears, but like Martian, I used to think he was like a Martian or something. But at any rate, Mossy was a good pitcher. Um, and here's the back of that card. Now this card looks in pretty decent shape overall, other than being off center a little bit, and a little. It looks at first glance like just a little bit of edge wear on one side over here. But you see that corner right there, that corner right there, and this corner here are really feathered bad. And this one right here, I had to do some doctoring to keep it. Every time I wanted to stick it in the card saver, it wanted to fold back. Where it's kind of split on the corner into front and back, wants to roll back and bend backwards and look bad. But I got it in there finally without it doing that. Right here is Ray Narleski. And this is another one I thought the original photos were kind of out of focus. He almost looks like he's scared, like, somebody, like shocked him or surprised him when they took his photo or something. But at any rate, this card's got some obvious edge wear. But and this card is even off center on the back here, as you can see the start of on that edge, next card over. But it does help fill out my team set, the common. Now, that is all of the cards that are not graded. Everything else left here is graded. The first one here is Hall of Famer Al Lopez. Now, Lopez was not a player for the 1954 Indians. He was their manager. He was a former major league player, though, had a good career as both a player and a manager. And this is him. And even though this right here is a PSA 3, as you can see there, what's shocking is to me, and I don't know how it's going to show up here, but this card has a crease. And the crease, well, it's actually right here. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's even going to show up. It's a minor, very minor crease, but right there's the touch of it right there going into the screen where my fingernail is. But this card does have a crease, but it's got good color, and it's already been graded a 3. It's also got corner edge wear. What gets me is, and I'm going to show you this is why I always preferred SGC, especially for vintage, over PSA before PSA bought out SGC. I'm going to show you grading inconsistencies with PSA. This card right here with the crease in it that it does have, in my opinion, if you sent this card to SGC back in the day, this card would have probably gotten no more than a 2, SGC 2. Now, here is a common that is graded, Dale Mitchell. And the reason that I went ahead and jumped on this at the time I bought this in graded condition, and this is also a PSA 3, I believe. Yep, very good 3. But the reason I jumped on this at the time was because of the fact that this is the very last card, I believe, it's the last Indian in the set 314. Very hard to find this card in good condition, and you see this card is off center left to right, and it's got some edge wear, which it's a 3, and that's justifiable. But it's got good color. The image in the center of the card is really nice, and I like that. And here's the back of it. The back's pretty well centered, and I don't have any problems with that. There's no creases in that card at all. But I will say this. I do get that this is badly off center. This card is better centered. But if this is if this is a PSA 3 and this card has a crease in it, then how is it a PSA 3? That's just my opinion, okay? I think that the crease knocks it down more, but I'm more harsh on grading cards and like my thoughts on a card than a lot of people. Because of the fact that Bowman did not make a card for whatever reason of Hall of Famer Larry Doby, In my team set, I've actually included a oddball card. This card is from Fleer Ultra, and this is from 2003 Fleer Ultra of Larry Doby. And I just said, since Bowman didn't include a card of him, and this card, you notice it has the wood grain. That's why I picked this card out. It's got like a wood grain edge, and so I said that's a good card to put in with my 1955 Bowman Color TV wood grain set, since they didn't make a card of Larry Doby. I don't know why. He hit something like 36 homers, led the American League with 120 some RBIs in 1954, and Bowman didn't make a baseball card of him. Kind of crazy, you know. Some people might want to say, well, it might have been because there were a lot of racism at that time. But you can't at the same time say that is the reason, because Bowman did uh, include Doby's teammates, Pope and Al Smith, both of which were black players. So you can't say that they didn't make a card of Doby because of racism, because they made cards of his teammates, you know, that were the same race. Here's another Hall of Famer, early Wynn, Hall of Fame pitcher. Cleveland had a tremendous pitching staff on this team. It's one of the reasons they won so many games, 111 games. This early Wynn, as you notice, it's a level 3, a grade of a 3, and it's miscut. But Wynn is always, just about every all-time greats legend sets, you'll find early Wynn cards in them. One of the greatest pitchers of all time, he's considered. Here's the back of that card, and it seems like it does have, yeah, this one's got like wax stain from the pack. So this card was probably, the back of a baseball pack at one time. It's got like some stain on it, both ends, and but overall, very nice card. As you can see, it's got the lighter wood grain finish on the edge, so that means it's an early series card number 38. And here's another Hall of Fame pitcher, Bob Lemon, in that set. This one is only a PSA 2, but it does have significant corner and edge wear. It's also off center, but there's no creases in this card. It's a beautiful photo. You notice the old lights in the background. And here's the back of that card. I'm really, to me, going after the Hall of Famers already graded was a big deal. Because usually when it comes to people trying to, there's something. This upsets me because I don't know what this is. So give me just a second while I see what is on this. I see something got in between the slab and the bag. Probably when I was putting it in, something was on my fingers or something. Here is a big Hall of Famer in the set, Ralph Kiner. Kiner, better known for his days with Pittsburgh, but he was a member of this Cleveland team, and Kiner, of course, in the Hall of Fame. This is the highest graded card in my team set, PSA 4. You're going to notice that, PSA 4 very good to excellent. The reason I say a lot of my cards, even though they look nice to commons, I would say are not nowhere close to near mint. Is this, for one thing, this card is still, even though it's pretty good left to right, it's still just a hair off top to bottom on the center. But this card does have some corner, and I don't know how good it is. It's got some corner edge, corner wear, some corner dings, and so this to me is dead on the money. Notice that corner right there is not really good at all. And then here's these corners. But to me, that is a definite. PSA did a good job in putting that as a VG to an EX grade, because that's where I classify that. Now, a lot of eBay sellers would take that same card, or a lot of sellers anywhere, take that same card raw and try to pass it off as a near mint. Or they'd try to say, well, it's a near mint. And if you pointed out, well, it's got corner and edge wear, they'd say, well, that's why it's not mint, and I'm saying it's near mint. But that's excellent. Very good to EX. And here's the last card, and my favorite all-time Indian, Bob Feller. Now, this card is beat to crap, in my opinion. It's one of the ugliest Bob Fellers that I've got. But notice the grade, 1.5 poor. This is the lowest grade card in this team set. This is also the most valuable card in this set. Even in this grade, this Bob Feller would sell for more than any of these other Hall of Famers in better grades because he is the more popular of all the Hall of Famers in this team set. But this Bob Feller, you notice the corners here, very, very worn. That corner there is basically missing. It's gone. This corner here, very bad. The edge wear is there as well, but the photo in the middle is still really, really nice. And the corners over here are pretty worn as well. That top corner there, awful. So some kid really had handled the crap out of this card back in the 50s, I guess, or 60s. But still, it's a Bob Feller. And here's the back of the Bob Feller. I know I didn't share the back of all these because I forgot to talking, but this is, I just thought it would be cool to share with you in a video. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 graded cards here, 5 of which are Hall of Famers. Feller, of course, my favorite and the most legendary name in them all. Although Bob, Lemon, and early Wynn, they were great pitchers in their own right. And the commons here, and I will tell you, I would love to have this complete team set in a lot better condition. The problem is expense. Like I said, low grade commons, even a common like that's got even some paper loss on the very edge corner up there and a stain on it. You're looking at a lot of dealers because it's so hard to find these 1950s. Especially now that series, series 1, but in the second series, it's so hard to find the commons in good condition. Even in mid-grade condition, the prices are usually way higher than you would think for a common player. And then, like I said, I had that card, and I said that's a perfect card to substitute. Since Bowman did not make a Larry Doby card for whatever reason, that wood grain border, perfect to go along with the 55 tops. 55 Bowman. So I put it in with it. But anyway, that's this video. I just wanted to share that. I thought it would be cool to share the team set with you in a video. Thank you all for watching. Be back again soon with more videos.